Hey nerds, welcome to episode order 66 of the Nerd Rundown podcast. Coming up this week on the show, Darren and I discussed the latest trailer from the upcoming series on Disney Plus called Andor. We talk about Tomb Raider news, including a discussion on the assets required to be the new Lara Croft. We say goodbye to a Star Trek legend and wrap up the show with a NRDbox question that makes my eyes go crossed. Ready? Hit it!
Welcome to another episode of the Nerd Rundown podcast, where we cover the latest in the nerd world of movies, TV, and more. I'm your host, Darren Stemple. With me today is my co-pilot, Eric Herr.
Greetings, fellow nerds.
You can find us on our social media like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all at the Nerd Rundown. While you're there, hit the like and subscribe buttons. Leave a comment. Love interacting with you guys. I say it every week, but it's getting real fun interacting with you guys on a weekly basis. I got a really great NRDbox question from Captain Dunsel on the YouTube page. As Eric said in the last couple weeks, even if you're an audio-only listener, take a couple minutes out of your day to get on the internet and go to our videos and leave a comment. We would love to give you guys a shout-out on the show. And then, obviously for you audio-only people, you can listen to us on all the major podcast services. We have the shortest rundown in the history of rundowns today, as we've got a really great deep dive episode planned into presents on all the MCU stuff that I missed out talking about last week on the show because I was in paradise relaxing with my family. So priorities, family first, and as Eric says, not in a Fast and Furious way. But first on the rundown today, big time trailer released today. The official trailer for the upcoming Disney Plus series set in the Star Wars universe, the spinoff TV show. How many more hyperbole statements can I make here? Or what are they called? I forget. Anyway, Andor, the TV show, which is a prequel to Rogue One, all on Disney Plus. It's gonna be 12 episodes. We got the trailer. My God, I cannot wait for this movie, Eric. We saw a teaser before that was pretty incredible. What did this trailer do for you after seeing the teaser first a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago?
Yeah. Well, the scope and the scale of this particular trailer, it really expanded the scope and the scale of what I think we're going to see. So, we kind of already knew from a time perspective that this was going to take place over a pretty large time scale. But this really looks like, first of all, just gorgeous. They started off, I think the first clip looks to me like the Scottish Highlands, and it just looks incredible. I'll save my one comment for the later on in it, but this special effects as far as like the set pieces and stuff like that look pretty spectacular. Skarsgård, Stellan Skarsgård,
Skarsgård, not Skarsgård,
correct. Looks, and as always, looks amazing and sounds amazing. Hair though, bro. Yeah,
it's so awesome.
I mean, he just is incredible. So, I think it's going to be interesting to watch I think it's going to be really interesting to watch the Andor character kind of progress from where, because when we saw him, he was full on rebel, bought into the cause, wholehearted into it. So it's gonna be curious to see how they play him out over the years, and kind of see how that goes. The Mon Mothma character, I think it's gonna be really cool to see how she works her stuff. just to watch.
Incredible.
Yeah, she really does. Like the whole thing looked really incredible. There was a couple callback things in there from the prequel series. You got to see the Senate with all that stuff. I've really got to work on my ums. It is crazy, and I'm going to work really, really hard not to say them. So
should we take a drink every time you say them?
I probably should. It worked with obviously. So
it worked for a short time, but we were back saying obviously.
I think we might be, but I think we use it in less time perspective. See, there it is again. God.
Hyperbole moments.
Correct.
We use it in more literal moments.
We do.
And it really is obvious.
Yes. So what are your thoughts on the trailer? What did you think?
So the scale, I think that's a great first point to make, is the scale of this show. So Disney bought Star Wars, 2012 or something, 2014, something like that. Now it's that they were going to be expanding the galaxy, and they did the sequel movies, and since Disney Plus, they've gotten these small scale stories. This is the first Disney Plus Star Wars show that seems like it's going to be a massive scale of a story. It's going to span years, maybe a lifetime. We may see Cassian Andor as a child. You get to see just what looks to be a lot of different worlds in the galaxy.
Right.
As you know, I love world building. So building out the world of Star Wars, you're going to get to see a lot of my other favorite kind of stuff in Star Wars. The real stuff that they put in there.
Right.
This trailer and the music is so good. I want to know who's doing the music for this show, because this score sounds incredible. And you can tell that you can feel it, that it's in the Star Wars universe.
Correct. Yeah.
But it's got such a more gritty feel to it than what we are used to. And we've gotten a little bit of that in Mando, but there's still a little bit of a clean polish to that show.
Right.
This feels gritty, and I cannot wait. It's going to be 2 seasons, 12 episodes each season. It after the second season, it will lead directly into Rogue One, which started off with Cassian Andor as his spy, and that opening scene in Rogue One was really powerful because you saw Cassian Andor kill a dude for like nothing,
right?
And it right off the bat you could tell that was going to be a different kind of movie, than we've seen in Star Wars, and you could tell that this is going to be a different kind of show than we've gotten from Disney Plus so far. Right. So I'm hyped. 3-episode premiere opening night.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
That's like a
dropping
first
3.
time. Yeah. So I mean, they've been known to drop 2.
Yeah.
The first week they did that with Obi-Wan. I think they did that with Ms. Marvel. Other shows sometimes get that. I think Hawkeye. Anyway, 3 times.
Get that hook set early. Get that hook set in your lip early and pull you in.
So our fellow YouTuber channels that do reactions, and they have to wait till like midnight. That's midnight on the Pacific. So, right. You're going to have some East Coasters waking up real early to watch 3 hours of TV that they're going to have to react to. Right. Anyway, very excited. Very excited. I know you've got a little special thing you want to talk about.
Well, I just noticed one little bit, and I talked about it during the teaser. I think they had a table of them, but such a quick glimpse. The Russian. It's amazing that you actually could see that so well in that short, quick glimpse. Right. So this trailer kicks off pretty much with a great shot of the Russian-made Kalashnikov, which is. It's not unintentional that it's in there because the Kalashnikov, whether or not you look at it one way or the other, is the rifle preferred by just about every rebellion of any sort around, or any time that somebody goes up against somebody, it's usually a Kalashnikov, the AK-47 or the something in that family, AK-74 or whatever. That the people are fighting with. They're just known for taking a beating. You never have to oil them. You have to clean them. I mean, they just continue to do what they're supposed to do. Right. So I just think it's funny that they've chosen that, and I don't think it's nothing in a TV series.
Intentional. It sounds like
nothing
in
this stuff is
framed it.
right is unintentional. So I'm curious to see if that's why they chose it. I'm sure it'll shoot a laser beam like we talked about. I'm sure it's not firing
on Stormtrooper
right
armor.
But who cares? Apparently, all you need to do with Stormtrooper armor is what we saw from Obi-Wan.
Hit it with a stick.
Just hit it with a stick, and you're pretty much good. So. I think it's all made of
Ewoks did.
I think it's made of just candy. It's a thin candy shell, like on an M&M.
Like eggshell.
Yeah, it's just basically.
Yeah, it's like M&M.
Yeah. So, but
I mean, what I'll add on to that of my earlier statement, because I don't want to forget this, and I really felt like maybe I didn't get this from Obi-Wan like I thought I was going to get, but the anxiety of living under the Empire. And just how ruthless they can be, and it's like living in Nazi Germany, and having that anxiety all the time about these guys and how bad they are and how evil they are. For 12 episodes, I feel like there's going to be a lot of heart racing going on.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because you look at the Empire and you think everything's clean, everything, they have universal health care. They have all the utopia stuff that you could possibly want. Why would you fight against that? Why would you, that's the utopia. That's what everybody wants. But the utopia comes at a great cost, and that's your freedom. That's your liberty. And you are constantly under the thumb of that government organization, in which case it's the Empire, and its needs always come first. You will sacrifice, you will be sacrificed. Nothing comes before the Empire, before the Emperor, before Vader. Nothing comes before them. They're the most important. And so I think we're gonna see, because so far in the stuff that we've seen, you get interactions with the Empire, but I think the most of the stuff that we've seen over the years, at least with like Mandalorian and Obi-Wan and all this other stuff, it's all taken place on Outer Rim planets, so you never really get to see what's it like to live under the Empire. In the Empire, instead of being instead of being in the Outer Rim, because even the Outer Rim, if you screw up, the Empire may step in, it may not step in, but it's usually just a small garrison of whomever to be out there to do what they need to do, just to remind everybody, hey, we're around, and if you step out of line, there'll be plenty of us to come, bring you back into line. So that's going to be interesting to see. Like I said, gorgeous sets, gorgeous music. Great point that you made. Great. The music was really, really great. And they've done a great, bless it. They have done a great job with casting. I can already tell I'm going to be really, I don't know who the gal is that they cast as the bad Empire.
The blonde girl.
Yeah. The blonde.
I don't know who that is either.
Yeah. But gosh,
she looks evil as shit though.
She does. She just looks so sinister. And I loved, okay, I've been around a long time. I'm kind of an older guy. I know I'm the oldest guy on the team, but Forrest Whitaker is just an incredible dude, and I am so excited that he's going to be back. And
Saw Gerrera.
Yeah, Saw Gerrera. I am so excited for that, because it's just going to be great. And one of the bits in the trailer, maybe you can fill it in, because you and Morgan both have played, Jackson has played it, my son, but yeah, there was a ship breaking. There was a scene where it looked like he was on a ship breaking planet. And do you think maybe we get a glimpse of
Braca?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of curious.
That would be amazing. I would love to see Braca in live action, because out of that game, that's one of two maps that you can't go back to. Because you can jump in between worlds in that game. It's really fun. I feel like that you played it, but
yeah,
you can't go back. So you only get that opening scene on that and I think you're right. He's like, I think he's got a mustache. He's got orange. He's got almost like an orange rebellion X-wing pilot suit on.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's breaking apart ships.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna go here earlier when you mentioned Mon Mothma. You probably know. I love to know the why behind things. I mean, I'm human. I think that's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I'm special in that, but I really like the why fascinates me, and so the why, the impetus that drives Cassian to live and breathe, being a rebel spy or part of the rebellion.
Right.
What drives him to that? And it looks like there could be some romance with somebody who's very gorgeous in the trailer. Maybe she dies, and that's what drives him to really live and breathe this. Mon Mothma, what drives her to be this leader of the rebellion?
Right.
As she's a senator. So I love that. I can't wait to see the why behind these characters that drive them to do these things.
Yeah.
And then we know why the rebellion is created, but seeing the rebellion, the Rebel Alliance, which is one of two tattoos that I said if I'd ever get a tattoo, I'd get a tattoo of the Rebel Alliance logo.
Yeah.
And the other one is my third AD combat patch on my shoulder. I'm never gonna get a tattoo, FYI.
I feel.
But if I had gun to my head, I'd be like, all right, put the Rebel Alliance.
So now that's funny because
on my butt, I'd put it on my butt.
I am, and it's not because I like align with them in any way, shape, or form, but I would definitely go with the Empire because I just love that logo more. I just I just think it's super cool looking. So, in fact, my
looks like an anus to me.
My first like home built computer that I built. I built a
nerd.
Yeah, super nerd. I bought a case that had a clear acrylic side to it, and had some lights inside there. And this was like when that stuff first started happening. Now you can get
light up
no matter what. Yeah, but it would. And so on that clear acrylic, I bought like a 12-inch Imperial symbol and put it on there because I just thought it was, oh my god, it's so cool. So yeah,
it's cool. You see it like that, like in the back window of cars. You'd see it's either the Empire or the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, well, that's the same thing with like the Transformers. So Denise, I was just looking. It looks like Denise Goff is the
girl?
is the gal. Yeah, they don't have a name for her on here. At least I don't think so. Let's see. Yeah, they don't have a name for her character on IMDb. And it's always, early on, it's always interesting to look at the IMDb
the
stuff.
blonde.
Right. Yeah, she's looks like she's going to be the blonde
Adria
villain.
Ariona?
Arjona.
She looks like the girl that maybe with Cassian. So
she may be the love interest, and that may be what the catalyst is for him to be engaged with the Empire. But, it's interesting to me, the differences between the Empire. Like I said, it's always the clean uniforms. Everything is black or gray, and it's all spotless. And then the rebellion and everything else in the galaxy is darker and is lighter and grittier, but it's dirtier. And so again, not unintentional, but
no.
So we'll see.
I think it's interesting they don't put the names on there. That means I feel like they're hiding something that they want to give away. Twists, maybe.
Right. Well, what's really funny is like, okay, you get Genevieve O'Reilly and Diego Luna, and then Alex Ferns, who plays Sergeant Caustic. They all are billed as 12 episodes. So they are in all 12 episodes of everybody else on the IMDb.
I mean, even
gets
Stellan
like
says
one. Yeah, it gets like one episode or 3 episodes. So I think sometimes, especially with Stellan, I have a feeling that he's probably in, quite a few episodes, but they're only tipping their cards to say he's only going to be in the first episode, and then they populate it later on as it kind of goes.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, we only need to wait till September 21st. For Andor.
Yeah.
Cannot cannot wait for this show. I think it's going to be incredible. Might get something more. We still have D23 coming up, which we'll talk about in the Presents more, but looking forward to this. Next on the rundown, we have news out of Hollywood that the Tomb Raider movie rights have expired at MGM, and now it's up for bid from other studios, and they're gonna reboot it with a new star. So I have a couple questions for you, Eric. Actually, several. So you want them one at a time, or you want them all together?
Let's do one at a time.
If I don't give them. Okay.
No. Yeah, I won't remember.
I won't forget. I won't forget.
Yeah.
I won't forget. Okay, first one. What do you think about the Tomb Raider series? Movies, games, just the Tomb Raider character.
Okay, so I haven't really done. I played the video game. Okay, I played the game on the PlayStation when it first came out, and that was that was great. I loved that. So she was hot. Like that like honestly, that's like my first thing that came out. I was like, holy smokes, this chick is like babelicious. Even though she was, I think that was my first video game crush. Like, I don't think I'd ever have so. Like because up to that point,
she was
like,
definitely the first hottest one.
Up to that point, like there weren't a lot of chicks in video games that you could play as a girl, and it was awesome. Like, I loved it felt like a female Indiana Jones type character, so
totally.
I really enjoyed, and I enjoyed the puzzles. I enjoyed the adventure of the Tomb Raider series. The first Tomb Raider, then Tomb Raider 2, I thought was pretty good.
That was the one that like blew it off. Blew it out of the world. Blew it off the map.
Yep. Yeah. Because I don't even think I played. I think I maybe played a little bit of the first one, but when the second one came out, I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is amazing.
Yeah,
I loved it. Had a great time with it.
They rounded out our boobs in that second one, because the first one it was like traffic cones.
They were a little square. But I just figured it was the bra, So except I found out in the second one she wasn't wearing one, so they were just like that.
You could play her naked. Did you ever play her naked?
No.
Have her run around her mansion.
No.
So there was like in the second one you could like run around you could put in a cheat code. And she'd run around her mansion. She has a pool and diving board you can jump off of. No. And you could put the cheat code in, and she'd run around naked.
That's funny. I did not do that. Movies?
Sure.
Movies wise,
where's the Catherine Hahn winking?
Yeah, right. No, I never did. Actually, I was not much of a cheat code person. I don't think I even knew about it. Person, so if it was out there, like I didn't really follow that stuff, so I wouldn't have gotten, like I wouldn't have found that.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. Your wife still loves you.
No, oh shoot, there's way worse stuff than that in the bank. So the movies, I didn't care for them. I didn't care for either one of them. I didn't think they were very good. I didn't like Angelina Jolie, the casting of Angelina Jolie. I preferred the second gal that they cast in there. I thought she was a much better fit for the character.
Alicia Vikander?
Yeah, I thought she was a much better fit for the character. I just didn't like the story, and I didn't think it flowed very. I didn't think it did. I just didn't think it was a very good movie. So,
yeah.
So those.
Well, I agree. I mean, that's your answer to the first question. Yep. But I'll add on. She was cast because they had just relaunched the series.
Yeah.
And you could tell that they were modeling it after the game. And the movie didn't do as well because it followed this incredible reboot of Tomb Raider.
Right.
And it just, if you're not going to do it better than the video game, don't make it.
Yeah. And I never played. Okay. I don't think I ever played it after 2. Like I love Tomb Raider 2, but I don't think I ever played it after that.
Sure. You played one, you played it all. They're all amazingly fun to play, and I highly recommend. It's one of the first games I ever was like, I'm gonna 100% this game, and I've done it multiple times. That's how fun it is. It's the replayability is high.
Yeah.
Okay, so new studio comes in and is going to buy it. What studio do you want? I think there's like 3 studios left in the world. And who should play? Lara Croft, Tomb Raider.
Okay. So which studio do I think should buy this? So Sony...
I don't think that this matters as much, but it could matter.
Well, first of all, how do you lose the rights? Like, how do you... Did they expired and you didn't renew them? Like, you missed your renewal date?
Yeah, you probably you buy it for a time frame, much like the Marvel characters were all bought for a certain amount of time, and the deal was they had to keep making them, or they lose the rights back to Marvel. Like, that's why they kept making shitty X-Men movies, because they just had to keep the rights to it. And then Fantastic Four flopped, and they were like, we have them back, But anyway, so you buy it for a certain amount of time, and I'm assuming that they just were like, it didn't do well at the box office, so somebody else can give it a shot. So
I don't know, man. I don't care. Like, I don't care like which studio does this. I think just don't let it be Warner Brothers or DC. Like, I don't want Warner Brothers to get it. Because like, I feel like Warner Brothers is not a good place for it. I really don't. So
Sure. Okay.
And Disney, I don't think
Makes
Disney
sense.
I don't want Disney to do it either. I think if I'm going to look at anybody, it maybe is Paramount, because I think Paramount and maybe Sony, because Sony, maybe a joint venture between
I like the Paramount.
Sony and Paramount.
I like the Paramount option.
I think Paramount did a great job with Top Gun Maverick, and they've done a pretty good job. I think if you maybe got Christopher McQuarrie away from the Mission Impossible stuff, I think he'd be a great fit. And
That's a great idea.
He's got a good...
It could really do like a Mission Impossible.
Yeah, you could kind of Mission
style.
Impossible-ize Tomb Raider-ish, but
All right, I've got two actresses. If you need a little bit more time, or maybe you can agree.
No. Go ahead. Throw the actresses at me.
All right, the dream casting here, I think, would be Alexandra Daddario.
Lord.
You know her. You know her assets very well.
Yeah.
From movies like Baywatch.
And frankly, her assets that I love very much are not the ones that you would think that I love as much. So
I'm talking about her personality and her smarts and her humor. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was talking about her eyes. Like that woman's eyes are the most amazing eyes. And
so she got her start in True Detective. I know, because Banana's gonna be like, "Who are you talking about?" I'm like, "Just wait 3 seconds before we get to it." So she started in True Detective, San Andreas.
Is that the first?
She was in White Lotus recently.
First season of True Detective with Matthew McConaughey,
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, and Woody Harrelson. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she full on displays her assets in that.
Both of her eyes, they're amazing, beautiful eyes.
San Andreas with
with The Rock, with DJ. Yep,
buddy.
Yeah, she was really good. She was good in that. She played his daughter, didn't she? I think she was his daughter or something like that. Yeah, she was his daughter. Yep. DJ did really well.
She was. Yeah, it was a really good movie.
Surprisingly, for like disaster porn, I actually liked that movie. Like, I thought it was like a decent disaster porn movie.
Totally.
It wasn't like a normal.
And it didn't need to have Rock like in the Amazon.
No.
Doing something.
Yep.
So
it was just a helicopter pilot just trying to helicopter pilot. And that was cool. So.
So she was also recently in White Lotus, which was a really great miniseries on HBO Max.
Didn't watch it.
My second one that I just kind of popped in my head recently, it may be a little too similar in look to Alicia Vikander, but Ana de Armas, who now, after watching The Gray Man and No Time to Die has shown she has some serious action chops on her.
Okay.
And she is SEXYAF, if you know what I mean. She has some incredible assets. Her eyes are just
she's not ugly. Okay, I know that you're making fun. You're making fun of me now. I get that. I get that. But I am dead serious. Like, not that she doesn't have other assets that you're referring to, but I know
just this picture alone.
No joke. Daddario's eyes are like legit.
I agree 1,000,000%. In fact,
I'm gonna put a picture
because I knew you would.
I'm gonna put a picture of her in the video, and I probably will put one that doesn't even have her other assets in it. It'll just have her eyes.
Go to her. Use her main IMDb photo because she's got a amazingly beautiful white blouse on.
Yeah, and
her eyes just pop off even in the small picture. So anyway, Ana de Armas would be great. After seeing Gray Man, she doubled up on her action chops. And then Alexandra Daddario would be, I think this would be like her chance to make her an A-lister. That would be really great, which she deserves because she's very talented.
Yeah. Well, I adored her in Baywatch. I thought she was just great. In fact, that movie is way better than it had any business being. Another DJ, like, I watching that movie. I
did not watch it though.
Oh my gosh, you did not have watched Baywatch?
I haven't.
Oh my gosh,
I really want to. I really want to.
Dude, it's not what you think. It is downright hilarious, and
I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah, it's Zac Efron, another guy that I want to dislike. Like, along with like Channing Tatum, like I want to hate you so bad, but I can't. Bad. It's like with Hemsworth, like I'm like, oh my god, dude, you're just how can you be that talented and be that handsome? Like, that's just wrong. Like
it's not fair. Like, life is not fair.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, it's just. But anyhow, I'm gonna go with I do like your suggestion of Ana de Armas. I really do, but I am gonna go with
I still think Alexandra Daddario is.
Yeah, I think Daddario would be better. Although she is in, she's tied up with the Anne Rice's new series.
Oh, that's right, the Mayfair Witches.
Yeah, Mayfair Witches. So we'll see how that goes. But I mean, it's a feature length film, so they probably could squeeze it in her time off on the series and stuff. So
no off time for you, Alexandra. Anyway, so excited to see what they do. It's I did like the Angelina Jolie movies. I really enjoyed the second one, The Cradle of Life, which introduced us to Gerard Butler as a badass. I thought the first one was an overall probably better movie, but they upped the entertainment value in the second one, so I can watch them. And that was at a time when Angelina Jolie was like queen of the world, and we were in the army, and you're in Iraq for 12 months. You don't get to see any American women close to you, and Angelina Jolie's like everywhere. So like, man, she's so hot. Anyway, so
I will go with with Angelina Jolie stuff. I still think you can't top her in Hackers. Like her debut in Hackers, she was.
I forget about that.
Oh,
do you like that movie?
God. Well,
that's like one of the worst.
Every computer nerd loves and hates Hackers at the same time. Yeah. So, like,
it's like every bad stereotype thrown in there.
Totally. But everybody loves Zero Cool. I mean, just all the hack the planet.
It's kind of like Big Bang Theory, really.
Hack the planet. Yeah.
It's what jocks think nerds are like in the Big Bang Theory, but it did a lot for nerds. So I have to have
Hackers is a guilty pleasure. It's an absolute guilty pleasure.
Man. Yeah.
So speaking of well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say speaking of sex symbols, if you will, like female sex symbols.
Very, very good transition.
Yeah, we could,
and I'll pass this right off to you, Eric. Next on the rundown, sad news hate to end the rundown on this, but very, very important figure in our pop culture world.
Yeah.
Nichelle Nichols has passed away.
Yep.
And I'll let you take the reins on this one, Eric.
Yeah. Well, she passed away this past week at 89. She, of natural causes, you know, she wasn't like she was. 89's a good long life. But she made her debut in the original Star Trek series back in the 60s, and just at that point in time,
Uhura.
right, as Lieutenant Uhura, and so that clearly was a time period where you didn't have a lot of African American representation on modern television. So to have, for one thing, to have an African American woman on there was huge. To have her be a sex symbol, because she looked phenomenal. Like you go back and look at those days, she was a beautiful, beautiful woman. And so that, I think, was another thing that was kind of groundbreaking for her. And the other bit was the position that she held on. She was part of the bridge crew. So like an important piece of the bridge crew, you know, as far as the communications and stuff like that are concerned. So she had a position of authority over other people on the ship, and she was a bridge officer. So she was part of that original cast that moved from the original TV series to the cartoon that they had for a while. They had an animated cartoon after the show got canceled. They did that. And then when Star Wars made it big, Paramount was like, what do we have that's like Star Wars? And they're like, well, we have the Star Trek series that was like a while ago. And they're like, green light it, let's go, you know? And so we ended up getting, I wouldn't say 6 great movies, but we got really 4 really great movies, or probably 3 really great movies, three good movies, 2 okay movies, and then 1 really stellar movie. And she was key in every one of them. She just is an amazing woman. So
powerhouse
for sure. So to see her pass, you know, of old age, I think it's the time. You know, we lost Leonard Nimoy a long time ago. We lost, you know, Captain Spock. And then we've lost James Doohan, Leonard McCoy. We lost him. I'm trying to think who played DeForest Kelley. And so I really think the only one we have left, and then Chekhov, I believe, died as well. I think Walter Koenig, I think he might still be alive, but I think him and William Shatner are the only 2 left from the original cast that was there. So, yep. So
she was also in Heroes.
She was in Heroes. I forgot about that.
I saw that on her IMDb, and I'm like, oh man, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
that's right. She was Nana Dawson.
Yeah. That's
God,
crazy.
we got to do an episode around first season of Heroes, or just Heroes in general. That was
Walter Koenig is still alive. He is still alive. So Mr. Chekhov, Pavel Chekhov is still alive. So. Pavel.
Rest in peace, Nichelle Nichols. Thank you for your contribution to the nerd world and the world in general.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we have a great NRDbox question from Captain Dunsel, who's back. Might just end up like Morgan. He submits so many questions, he's going to have to be on the show.
Might as well bring him on
at some point.
Yep.
Might as well bring him on. We love it. So thanks again, Captain Dunsel, for another great NRDbox question. He writes it in, and this is going to be a great segue to our presents. So I'll be able to give a little bit more in-depth answer or context to that when we get to the presents.
Yeah, I was just pulling up the question here. So
he writes in, exactly what is canon in the Marvel and DC universes? Let's take DC, for instance. In the DC universe, what is canon? Just the movies or the TV shows, animated movies, or even comic books? And then on the same train of thought for Marvel, So I'm actually going to start with Marvel because it makes it a little bit easier to answer this in whole because of what Marvel is currently doing with their now what we know as the multiverse saga.
Right.
Great thumbnail last week, by the way.
Thank you.
And great job overall on the show.
Thanks. Yeah, it was fun. You guys, Morgan and I had a great time. It was packed.
You're very funny and you're very good. Morgan sucks, but we love him.
He's all right. We love him.
And,
he's a big dumb animal, folks.
He's a big dumb animal, folks. What is that from?
Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy. That's right. Yeah. All right. So with Marvel currently doing what's called the multiverse saga, basically everything can be canon now, or what we consider to be canon to the MCU. For example, What If? What If is canon to the MCU. It's not canon to the Prime 616 movie universe that we see. So that's part of the Sacred Timeline, but the Sacred Timeline is made up of a bunch of different universes and timelines. It's like rope woven into one, and there's an infinite amount. And so you get these what if stories that are, what if Peggy got the super soldier serum? Well, up until a certain point, everything is on one timeline and then it branches off. And so it creates a branch universe. And from there, it can splinter off into other universes. So it's a part of the overall MCU canon to include, as we saw in No Way Home, stuff that happened in 2000, 2001 with Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire come back, Andrew Garfield comes back. They're all part of the universe and they can be variants of each other. So up until about, I think it really was last year when in Loki, we started seeing that things are possible in this realm like this. The old Marvel stuff, the old Fantastic Four movies, the Spider-Man movies, X-Men movies were not considered to be canon, but now they can be considered that, especially after we got Professor Xavier in Multiverse of Madness.
Right, but we have to bring them from other universes into our universe to make them canon, though, correct? Is that...
Well, here's really a question to answer that. What is canon? So
I've now gone cross-eyed.
Marvel Studios has basically made... What's that?
I said I've gone cross-eyed at this point because
You've gotten Forrest Whitaker eye?
Yeah, well, what is it? The Austin Powers where he talks about time travel. And he's like, I've gone cross-eyed. It's like, better not just think about it, Austin. Just let it happen.
Well, yeah, and this is it. We're going to get a lot of multiverse over the next few years to help better explain all this. Even stuff like the X-Men cartoon now can be considered canon as part of the movie universe.
Yeah, the X-Men 97. You're talking about the X-Men 97.
Well, that's the continuation of the original cartoon from the 90s, which will now be part of MCU canon, and we'll talk about that in the presents. So Marvel's doing it where we could get anything that could be part of the MCU Marvel Cinematic Universe canon. The comics they have their own world. I don't think that we'll ever see like a comic character come up into, we won't see a drawn character interact with Thor, Yeah. So that's, you keep that separate. DC's a bit different. DC is all over the place in everything. They have their comic universe. They have their CW universe, which actually announced today Flash is ending after a truncated 9th season. Actually, I think they even dubbed this the Arrowverse, since Arrow was kind of the first show to start this universe.
Yeah.
They have the Snyderverse. They have a non-canon Batman movie out of the Snyderverse. So they have.
I don't think they have a canon.
They don't. Yeah, they don't have. They don't have. no canon in the DC.
Yeah, I don't think they have a canon.
Or they have mini canons, and that kind of is contradictory in itself.
Yeah, I think Marvel has an idea of what they want to have be canon. DC doesn't have any idea what they want. This comes back to there's no coherent leadership across the multi avenues of Marvel, storytelling versus or I should say of DC storytelling. Marvel, at least, they have the comic books, they are separate. But as far as the TV stuff goes, as far as the movie stuff goes, they are trying to weave all this stuff together to make it into some sort of coherent overall message and overall storytelling. With DC, you're right. DC is really interesting, and good and bad. DC has had a great run of small screen stuff. And we have to go back pretty far to really look at that, because you had Superman way back in the day where you had like the black and white Superman, like the black and white. Yeah, I can't remember what his name is, but George Reeves, was it? No, it wasn't Reeves. Maybe it was Reeves.
That's Christopher Reeves.
No, but I thought his name was George. Maybe not. Anyhow. Yeah. But then you had Lois and Clark with which was on the small screen. I can't remember who was in that one. Dean Cain and
Terry Hatcher.
Terry Hatcher. Oh God, she was hot.
Ooh, God, she was.
Yeah, but then you had Smallville. So they have the Arrow stuff. They have so they've had a good run of small screen stuff that has been very, very, very successful. And it's hard. DC, because of the success of Batman and because of the reimagining, it was. So I thought it was George Reeves. Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
I know. But
Aries,
I think the difficulty with DC versus Marvel, and this is just me kind of coming off the cuff here.
Yeah.
You have so much time that you have reimagined Batman over and over and over again, and it's great. It's great because you can you can take Batman and for whatever your society, whatever your culture looks like at that particular time, you can put Batman in there, and he's what you need him to be in that particular moment. So Batman makes it difficult for things to be canon. It really does. So I don't know. I don't know that there will ever be canon with Batman with DC stuff.
I know what you're saying with that. Yeah. I don't know if I agree with. I think you can. I think you can.
Because you look at like you could do it. Well, look at like Christopher Reeve's Superman.
The animated series, the Justice League animated series.
Yeah,
is one of the. It's up there in my top 3 or 4 animated series of all time. X-Men, Batman animated series, Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So it's probably 4th. It's incredible. And I mean, that's, they've always done really well in the animated shows and movies.
Yeah.
DC has. So.
And maybe they keep that canon, I guess, if you want. They keep that canon. So any animated stuff. But as far as the movies and the TV shows and stuff like that, I just think it's too challenging because of the length and the multiple properties that you've put out around your 2 biggest characters. And even Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman had a TV show a long time ago. And it was so
Linda Carter.
Yeah, Linda Carter. Where does that fit in with everything? Do we just toss that out or so again, it's just the length and continued reimagining of these characters as time moves forward. And even that with Superman, you have the Snyder stuff with Superman, you have the Christopher Reeves version. I think all of us would be happy to, as God rest Richard Pryor's soul, that movie was terrible, but I don't think anybody wants to, but it wasn't Richard Pryor's fault that was really terrible. Bad. It was not his fault. So,
but 3 and 4 were terrible.
Right. So,
well,
I just think it makes it difficult for DC to have a canon. I really do. I don't think that's possible. So,
if they actually got their stuff together and they said, okay, starting now.
Sure. Yeah. Everything that you know and love.
We want it.
Right.
You know?
Everything that you know and love about Batman, about Superman, about Wonder Woman, everything that you've experienced up to this point, none of that is going away. You'll always be able to go back and enjoy those things. But from this point forward, this is, at least from a television and a movie perspective, this is where we're going.
Yeah, that would help. That would help so much.
It's like, what was the line from Braveheart where he says, unite the clans, just unite the clans. And that's what they need to do. They need somebody, they need a Robert the Bruce to come in and unite the clans. And that's, so I don't know.
Robert the Bruce. Listen, they had a really good opportunity with Flashpoint, the new Flash movie that's coming out. Ezra Miller has really taken a big shit on them and ruined that movie. And
it's terrible.
I'm not even sure that movie might ever get released. They just announced that they replaced Michael Keaton's Batman in Aquaman with Ben Affleck's Batman. Like, they are reshooting that movie to take Michael Keaton's Batman out of it, or reshooting the Batman stuff. And so it sounds like maybe that movie may never see the light of day. And that was their chance to be like, okay, we're going to reset after this movie. It's going to be a Flashpoint, bring all the worlds together. From here, we'll have one continuity.
I don't think that's terrible. I really don't. I think this is a great opportunity. I know it cost them a lot of money, but this is a great opportunity. Just take a deep breath.
They should still do it. If you want
to do it, just drop it. Do it like you did with the Snyder take or whatever. Just drop it. But
right,
I don't know. Take a deep breath.
I still want to have the Ezra Miller be like the centerpiece of that. So, although they could just reshoot it, they could reshoot it with a different Flash from there and be like, okay, well, that Flash created this one continuity and he's no longer alive. Now we have Wally West and no more about Barry Allen.
Yeah.
So
just
anyway,
hire Sean Gunn and James Gunn.
Yeah.
And have them run your stuff, or get somebody like, you turn the key. I know that he's already got a job, but there's got to be somebody like the guys running Star Wars now. There's got to be somebody
Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
Yeah, there's got to be some super DC nerd out there that knows what they're doing.
They've had that. That's the thing. And they've had Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns is a credible DC comic writer who was brought in. He helped make some of the movies.
He doesn't know anything about
movies. He was going to be there, Kevin Feige, but then they just they don't listen to him and they do different stuff.
Well, that's the thing.
And then they had Zack Snyder, and
he's not a film guy, and so he's not a film and TV show, and so there's no way some guy that you're going to get to come on off the street doesn't know about the film and television industry that's going to come in and tell me how to do my job. That's the attitude. You're
right.
Not a film, and you're a comic book guy. So write your comic books and make your little drawings and use your crayons and all that stuff to fill in between the lines. That's the way Hollywood looks at it. You're not a Hollywood person. So
right.
We need a Hollywood person. Well, guess
but
what?
They even
Hollywood
had Zack
person
Snyder as a Hollywood person.
Yeah. Well,
they still didn't. They get small. I mean, he makes Batman v Superman and doesn't get the acclaim that they thought. So they're like, yeah, we're taking over. Even though it would,
it's
movie
terrible.
Gets a little bit better. The longer version is way better, and it adds a little bit more context.
Well,
I'm not a massive Snyder fan, but
yeah,
Man of Steel is great. He's done some good stuff. Anyway, getting off topic. Captain Dunsel. Marvel, it's pretty easy to say. Everything's pretty much part of their canon now, and then DC just is no canon. So we'll wrap with that. We're going to jump into the presents. We're going to talk about the future of the MCU. I'm very excited. A lot of stuff announced at Comic-Con. Some stuff they didn't announce we'll talk about. As some stuff may be announced at D23 later on. But great job last week covering Comic-Con. both you and Morg, but I think there's too much to just not go back and cover some of it and do a little bit of a deeper dive than what
for sure
what you guys were allowed to do last week. So
yeah, and
looking forward to
there's
that.
definitely some more details on each of those things that we're kind of be diving further into, where we got more plot lines, we got timelines, we got all kinds of stuff. So yeah,
interviews from the Feigster himself gave a lot more context on some stuff. So looking forward to that. Thanks again, Captain Dunsel, for writing in. Looking forward to your next question. Looking forward to the next question from anybody else that wants to submit one.
Drop us a line.
Yeah. And with that being said, see you all next week on the Nerd Rundown.
See ya. Bye.